Have you ever looked into the eyes of a child in distress, knowing that what you had was their only hope?
Well, we have over and over again over our last 6 years here in Brazil. Back in 2011, we moved our family to the jungles of Taraboa, Brazil. Not fully understanding everything that God was calling us to do, only knowing that He was calling us to go. We left almost all of our earthly possessions behind. We left our family, our friends, our church, all for the sake of the gospel.
Why Brazil?
MJ and I adopted a sibling group of 5 children from Brazil back in 2008. And over the next couple of years, we had returned to Brazil on a few mission trips. And each time we returned, we saw the hopelessness that the kids were living in, the poverty, the violence, the despair. It was heart-wrenching. But the thing that we noticed the most was the great need for the gospel.
Why the urgency to go?
The children of Brazil are at a great disadvantage. There are currently over 7 million orphans in Brazil, many of which live on the streets. Although the government denies it, in cities like Rio and Sao Paulo, there are police death squads that patrol the streets and kill these street children because they see them as a nuisance and a hindrance to the economy of the city. Brazil is the murder capital of the world, and because of the amount of violent crime, it has 21 of the top 50 most dangerous cities in the world with the highest murder rates, and Curitiba is one of those cities.
In the Northeast, over 50% of the population lives in poverty, with 75% of all rural families living in poverty.
Poverty drives many children to desperate measures, and child prostitution is a serious problem in Brazil, giving it the worst child sex trafficking record after Thailand. Recent sources report that 2 million children aged between 10 and 15 years old have been forced into prostitution. The participation of children in the labor force in Brazil is at least twice as high as in any other country in Latin America. And child labor is one of the major reasons why children do not attend school. There are 5.1 million children between the ages of 5 and 17 currently working in the Brazilian labor market. So you see, the children of Brazil are at a great disadvantage.
But since moving back here in 2011, we've been able to minister to thousands of at-risk children and teenagers in the orphanages, schools, and favelas of Curitiba.
Through gospel-centered camps, church services, school events, and through our work in the orphanages, we've been able to share the love of God and bring the life-changing message of the gospel of Jesus Christ to these children. Most of the kids that we minister to are victims of some type of physical abuse, sexual abuse, or have been neglected so badly that the government has had to step in and take them out of whatever situation they were in and have placed them in one of these orphanages that we've partnered with. Although we're very thankful to be able to do what we've done over the last 6 years, we now realize that the constant amount of emotional, physical, and spiritual strain that our family is under isn't sustainable anymore. Honestly, we're just so tired.
But since continuing our work here with the kids isn't even an option, we've come to this conclusion. We need more help.
Bottom line is this. If we're going to effectively continue to minister here in Brazil, and if we have any hopes of growing and reaching more kids with the gospel, we need more help. We need to raise up Brazilian staff members who can not only continue this work with the children, but also who can sustain the ministry here in Brazil if the Lord ever moves us somewhere else. But to continue the ministry and to raise up these leaders, it's going to take more financial support than we currently have. We need more finances. When we moved to Brazil as missionaries back in 2011, we only had $350 a month pledged to us. And for 6 years, we've never made any pleas for monthly financial support. We've always tried to let people know what we were doing, and if the Lord spoke to them to give, great. If not, then oh well, we're living by faith and just trusting God. We've never had a huge surplus each month. Actually, some months we've had to count change just to buy groceries. But in spite of that, we've had enough each month to do what we've needed to do. If we had the money, we would do an event at a school in a favela or in one of the orphanages. Or if enough money came in, we would do a camp for an orphanage. But if we didn't have enough money, we didn't. And we've literally ministered to thousands of kids that way over the last 6 years.
To be honest with you, although it's been pretty amazing to see how God has provided, it's also been pretty stressful as well. Living in a foreign country with a family our size is a big enough responsibility on its own. Then add in all the ministry that we've got going on, and it's a lot.
So for us to continue, we've got to do things differently. We've got to grow the ministry, not just sustain it. We need to have more finances to adequately live and minister here in Brazil. Right now, we're in the process of trying to raise enough money to not only provide for our family and for all the ministry we have planned in 2018, but most importantly, we need enough money to be able to hire someone to help us. Brazilians who can carry on the ministry if God ever chooses to move us somewhere else. But we want to be very clear about something. At the beginning of this video, we asked you if you've ever looked into the eyes of a child in distress, knowing that what you have was their only hope. Sure, we try to address the best we can the poverty, the hunger, the violence, the abandonment, and the neglect that these kids face. But we actually have a hope that transcends all that. It's the hope that comes through the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's why it's vital that we're here doing what we're doing, because without that, they truly have no hope.
So, will you help us continue to offer hope?